Alright, let's move on. So now we're actually going to create our own module. So we can do something like, we have the standalone.py, right? And we can create a second file. So if you're on Sublime, you can do Control-N, or you can do File New, whatever. If you're on Notepad, you need to open up another Notepad instance. So just create a second file. If you're on Mac, you want to make sure you do your shebang. If you're not on Mac, don't, or just add a space at the beginning, like Bernard said.
No. Space after the exclamation.
Oh yeah, that would break it. Yeah, so that works. If you're on Windows, you don't need to do that. So modules allow you to pull in code from other libraries, basically, and we're just going to demonstrate that. So let's say we had a function, let's say we were writing a whole bunch of scripts, doing a whole bunch of stuff, and we found every time we wrote a new script, we did the same thing, right? So let's say every day we had to write a new script to get the weather or something, right? You don't want to have to do all the work to get the weather every single time. You just want to say, hey, just give me the weather, right? So we can define a function to do that, and then we can do something like this, right? And let's go ahead and save this as a Python file. Now we're going to call it, let's call it report.py, okay? Like a weather report. Okay? And make sure this is in the same directory as standalone.py, okay? It's going to be very important. And we're just going to do... I don't want to do that. That's terrible. Sorry, I don't like the example the book is giving. Do something like this. Right? And then, actually, yeah, I guess we are going to do something like this. And then there's another module. Modules can import other modules, and so on and so forth. So there's a module called random, right? And it has a function called choice. Whoa. Now, you'll notice that in the past, I'm going to leave this commented, we did something more like this, right? This is how to import the entire module, right? But if you know specifically what you want out of the module, you can import just that component. So in this case, we have the whole random module, but we don't need the entire random module. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull something from the random module, but the only part we're going to import is called choice. Okay? Choice is a way to kind of generate a random number, more or less. Or rather, sorry, choose a random possibility out of a collection. So we can then do something like this. Okay? Sorry, not possibilities, my bad, that's what's in the book. There we go. So what this function does, this function is called getDescription. It defines a set of weather options, sunny, rainy, snowy, and then we pull in this choice function, which will take a random value out of a collection, and then we say, hey, go ahead and return as the output of this function, for those of you who remember functions, as the output of this function, just choose one of those weather options. Okay? Questions? Is everyone caught up? Yes? No? Yes? No? Yes? I'm seeing yeses. I hear you still typing, though. Okay. And make sure, as always, make sure that your indentation is good, because Python cares about that. You don't want it to just be complaining and then have to play catch up. Okay. I'm actually going to do this so that he can continue and we can continue. I'm going to do this. Oh, come on. Okay, that'll work. Why not? Can you still see this? Does that work? Good enough?
Yep.
Cool. And then as long as these are in the same directory, we can pull this one into this one. So we can do something like this, because this file is called report.py, right? And then we can say we can say something like this. Actually, I'm gonna. Did you catch what's in report.py?
Sorry?
Did you catch what's in here already?
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm just following just, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I need, self-study maybe.
Okay.
Further.
Okay, that's all right. We'll catch you up in a minute. What the hell did I just do? Okay. And then we called this function over here getDescription, right? And the file is called report. So we can import report, and then we can call that getDescription function that we defined. Okay? And that's going to, remember, that's going to return us one of our choices. We're going to go ahead and store that in a variable called weather. And then you can do something like print today's weather, is weather. Can anyone tell me what this will do?
Randomly choose one of the weather.
Correct. What will be printed? What will be? Someone else tell me what will be printed to the screen. Perfect. Cool. So let's go ahead and try it out. Whoops. So Python standalone.py. There you go. Today's weather is rainy. And if I run it again, and run it again, I get a random one each time.
It's always slower rain.
First line? The first line.
Oh, this one?
Well, no, last one. The very first. Yeah.
Oh, the shebang? If you're on Windows, you don't want that. Because Windows 10 is stupid.
Page?
Yeah.
I got PYC file too, so it's natural.
Yes. So, Dale brought up a good point. If you list the contents of your directory, if you're on Windows, you'll see this directory called PyCache. If you're on Mac, you'll see a PYC file. PYC is kind of cached or compiled, you can call it either one. And basically that's what happens when Python realizes that you're using a file as a module and that you're not using it directly, it doesn't expect you to make changes to it. So what it's going to do is it's going to cache that file, it's going to compress it. And sorry for them. And basically it's going to put it into a more or less binary file called PYC. And that way it doesn't have to reinterpret everything. It just makes things a little bit faster when you run it in the future. So that may be why if like the first time you write a module, especially if it's a really long module and you import it into another file, the first run might take a little bit because it's interpreting that whole module file. But the next time you run it, it's going to have a cached version of it, and so it'll just run faster. Unless, of course, you delete the cache. And there's no harm in doing that because then it'll just reinterpret the source file. If you're on Windows, however, there is no PYC file, it puts it in this PyCache directory. So you can list the contents of that. And you'll see we have a cached version of our module file. Okay? So basically, this is our report.py, but turned into Python. Like if I were to try to open this file, it's going to be a whole bunch of nonsense. Because it's binary. It's machine. Your Python has already turned it into machine code. It's no longer your source code. So, questions? Besides in the back there? Alright, so, you know that. Oh, here we go. So, with what you know about arguments, functions, and modules, can someone tell me how we might modify these, if I could find my mouse, there we go, how we might modify these to pull out a certain type of weather based on an argument given to the script? Who wants to take a stab at that? So if I do standalone.python and I give it the number 1, let's say, or actually let's say 0, if I give it the number 0, I want it to tell me sunny. Yep, but I want you guys to tell me how you would code this. How would I alter this and that to get that sort of behavior?
We should take a parameter at the standalone pi, and we should send the parameter to the second pi in the portion.
Yep, exactly. Now, can someone else tell me how to do that? I know you can. She's thinking about it.
That are inside of blanket
Say again?
is inside of
Where?
in the report file.
Okay.
Which line?
Yeah, there. That.
I gave it away. Alright, what do you want to call it? It doesn't matter. Cool, that works.
A.
But let's give it a more descriptive name. That'll work. Why not?
Much better.
Okay. Now, how, I'm going to comment these 2 lines out because I don't want to lose them. Okay. In the real world, you shouldn't care, but when I document this later, I'm going to want that. So now, how would I return the proper 1? Anyone? Yeah, you too. If you want to. Because I know he knows.
You can use
But I want to return the choice will pick a random one.
choose.
But do you remember how to type it?
Probably it's not the
I'll give you a hint.
Python.
Whoops. Right? Because this is a list, right? So what would I do?
Whether options.
Right, but then it would return 1 every single time, regardless of what we gave it. Huh? Yeah, rainy forever.
Maybe she likes rainy.
Hey, I like rain. But you're really close. Yes. Perfect. And then we need to make sure we return it so that it's output. Very good. Very, very good. Now, so that means that this getDescription function, if you give it a 0, 1, or a 3, I'm sorry, 0, 1, or 2, thank you, because I swear I can count, it'll return the appropriate weather option. If you get anything larger than that, it's going to break. There's ways to handle that, but we haven't gotten there yet. Okay? So, how would we modify this one to take an argument to choose which of those weather things?
table line. Diff.
Oh,
Diff. CXARGV 1. Yes.
another way you could do that to be a little bit... So the nice part is that this will tell any other programmer, okay, we're just going to use the first argument. Another way that you could write this is... actually, yeah, that would work. You could also pull it into its own variable if you wanted to. You could do something like weather argument, and then you could just say weather argument. Either works. I just prefer to do this for my command line options just to be a little clearer. That way, if I'm looking through and I see this, I'm like, what is this supposed to be? Oh, it's supposed to be weather argument. Okay, I know what that is. Questions?
Can you just do how do you get user input again on Python?
This is it. So, are you talking about after you've started it? Or are you talking...
You're talking about before you started, right?
Correct. So, let's test it. Standalone Python, and let's give it a 2. Huh? Oh! It's actually a really good error. So, what's happening here... Actually, let me show you guys how to debug, because stuff like this is going to happen all the time. So, it tells us type error, list indices must be integers or slices, not string. It tells us which file the error occurs in this case report.py, and it tells us line 8. Okay, so we're going to go to report.py, we're going to go to line 8. Okay, now there's only two things that we don't know what's going on. Alright, weather options and number. Weather options, we know exactly what's going on there. Number is just some input. We don't know what's happening. So in this case, it says a list indice, okay, which is when we do this. This is how we access a list item using its index. Must be integers or slices, right? So it has to be a number or that colon notation that we covered way back when, not a string. Now, this is a string because when you're calling something on command line, Python doesn't know that it's a number. Because you can put anything on the command line, it just has to be some sort of text, including numbers. So Python's initially going to set that to a string. Okay? Whoops. Does anyone remember how to change the type of a variable?
The method int.
Yes. So this will force, or try, to force number as an integer instead of as a string. So now, it'll be snowy every time. But if we do 1, we get rainy. If we do 0, we get sunny. Questions? Does everyone understand why this works? If I pick a random one of you and ask you to explain to me how this works, will you be able to say it to me? You look like you have a question, though. No. You were... Yeah, what's up?
What happens if we just put 0 inside it? Not here. First file, standalone, 0 or 1. Yeah.
So, 0 is the file name.
I mean, the 0.
What do you mean?
Inside it, that bracket thing, line 13.
Oh, if you were to just put 0 here?
0, yeah, 0 or 1. Would it work?
It would. Because it's just going to it's just going to take that as an input, and then number will be set to 1 or 0 or whatever you put there, and it's going to try to convert it to an integer. It's already an integer, so it doesn't care, and it'll just work. But then you'll have the same thing every time.
I guess she was saying, like, you use int here, but you can also use int over there.
Oh, yeah, you could do it here.
So I think
You could do that.
it's a choice, but it looks better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And remove it over there. Yeah.
The reason I did it over here was for purposes of showing the debugging. But yeah,
Yeah.
you look a little bit confused. Does it make sense? Where the hell? There. What's going on here? Actually, you guys got it. Anyone else have questions?
Report by this one.
So, yeah. So, in Python, the way that Python knows whether code is inside a function is with indentation. So you want to use tab to indent.
I would put tab.
If you want it to be as part of the function. Because you can do something like this, and you'll notice how this is not indented. When you call this function, this will run. When you run this file, this will run. Yeah.
Are you decided to tab, right?
Sorry?
You are using.
I'm using tab.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
size 2, right?
Everyone's good? So they're fixing up, in the back they're fixing up,
This is doesn't matter.
So let's do,
You need int here.
did that, we did that. Oh, this is important.
And you should close.
So,
Save.
how much time do we have? What time is it?
And you got 45 minutes. You should
Okay,
add argument. Yeah, right.
okay. And, are you good? Okay. I don't want to proceed when there's like half the class not caught up. So, if you're good, go ahead and just relax for a second. We want to get everyone else caught up, okay? So there's other things we can do with importing. We showed you the typical import here. We showed you the from importing, right? You can also rename things. Like, let's say that you imported some module that was like, report for all of the things forever and really long name. Like, don't type this. Let's say someone typed something like that and you hated them. You could just do as a. You wouldn't want to call it a. You'd want to call it something more descriptive. But in this case, we could do import report as, let's say, WR for weather report. I don't actually recommend using a variable name like that because it's not descriptive. In the real world, report would probably be fine. But for purposes of demonstration, we're just going to use WR. And then you can just say WR. And this will run.
Would you be able to call it both report and WR?
No.
It's only called WR.
Correct. Because that would also be confusing. So if you were to try to do report, whoops, if I could type, it breaks. It's like, I don't know what report is, because you renamed it to WR. So that's super useful. Especially if you use, there's a module, MySQLDB, and it's like capital M, lowercase y, capital S, capital Q, capital L, lowercase db, and it's just a pain to type. I just call it MDB. It's easier. But yeah, still works. So there is that. This also works with, I can't brain. This also works with the from syntax. So remember earlier you can import a specific method from a module? We could do something like from report import get description. Whoops. Let's just do this as des, for example. And then we get rid of all this junk and just call it des. And des would reference the get description function from the report module. Make sense? So there's all sorts of shortcuts. I gotta be more consistent. Oh my god, really? Come on. There we go. Still works. Okay? It's just a way of renaming things. So you have your from, your import, and your as. You can use parts of them as you see fit. Import's the only required part. Any questions? Don't need my hand up there. Cool. So then, so there is, we're going to get a little bit in the weeds here, which is a terrible metaphor if you're not a native English speaker. We're going to get a little complex here. In Python, you'll notice that when we did this import, that report.py file is in the same directory as our script. That's not a requirement. In the Python installation, for example, and I'm just going to demonstrate this, there isn't code being written here. If I were to go to my Python, oh geez, was it local? Oh man. Oh boy. Am I going to make a fool of myself? It's totally going to happen. Where is it? Oh, come on. Sorry guys, give me a second. Should have had this prepared. Whoa, what? No. Updated local programs Python. Okay. So if I were to go to the directory that Python, I'm only going to show you this because you won't need to do this yourself. Again, I'm just demonstrating. So this is the directory where Python was installed. Okay. You'll see, oh, it's different on Windows. It would be. Nope. Yep. You'll see this lib directory. And in, oh, maybe it's because I haven't installed anything in pip. I might try that. This is where all of the modules are. Right? So what happens is, you notice how we imported sys earlier? Oh, crap, am I going to make a fool of myself again? Where is it? Really? Come on. There's this site packages folder. Okay, so this lib folder is the default Python library, and this is where all of the kind of built-in modules are. And then there's also a site packages directory that has packages that you can install. You can download and import modules from the internet to use in Python. For example, NumPy, NumPy, is really, really useful if you're doing all sorts of statistics or crazy math or calculus. There's also, crap, what is it called? Like ImagePy or something like that. There's a Python library for manipulating images. There's libraries for handling HTTP requests, libraries for connecting to databases. There is all sorts of stuff, and they all have different instructions on how to install them. But long story short, they somehow make it into this directory. There's a little other bit of work that they do, but you can see here all the packages that I've ever installed for Python, including requests, setup tools, and wheel, although I don't remember installing that, but we'll run with it.
Can we build our own library?
You can! So what makes a library is A, that it exists in either the folder that you're running your script in, which would be a pain if you required other users of your code to do that, or you set up some way for it to get into their site packages directory, because then it's involved in every single thing they use. So basically, each of these has, and it may not actually be in this folder because, normally there's some sort of other Python file called SetUpToppy or easy.py that will do all of that stuff for you, you'll write that as a part of your module. So if you were a module writer, you would have your folder of your module, and that might be somewhere on the internet, right? And then you just give people, hey, here's a file that will download that folder, change some configurations, compile stuff if it needs to, and then toss it into your site packages directory. And you just make it easy for people. So if you ever want to use someone else's, you just download their file, run the thing, and you're good. So this is just kind of for your knowledge stuff. You don't really need to use this. But if you ever get to the point where like modules are acting funky, start looking in here. Basically, the part you need to be able to Google is, whoa, did I bump something? Okay. The only part that you really need to remember is site packages. Okay, that's the part you need to remember. So if modules are acting funky and you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, site packages is what you want to type into Google. Questions?
If you copy report.py to this directory, can you use the function
Yes.
on the
Yep.
like terminal or
Yes.
anywhere?
That is an excellent question. So, if I remembered where the hell I installed my stuff, if I were to take this report.py and move it to this directory, I'm going to move, okay, and I were to try to run this, it should still work. Same thing. Or no, sorry. The reason that works is because the cache is still there. Let me blow up the cache. Okay, so now there's no cached version. It's not in the same directory. It's in the site packages. Still works. Okay.
But import, that's still
Yeah.
necessary.
So import looks in there's the reason I brought this up is the book actually mentions this. There's a kind of hierarchy that the import command uses. First, it looks for files or folders with the name of the module you're trying to import in your current directory. Then it looks in the site packages. I'm sorry, no. Then it looks in the standard library, and then site packages. Yeah. Then it looks in this lib folder, which is where the standard library is. If it doesn't find it there, then it looks in site packages. Okay? Cool. So that's kind of the hierarchy that a module searches for. Now, you'll notice that if I go back into site packages here, not all of these are files. Some of these are directories, right? They're both, so when you have a file or directory, they're still both types of modules. But the directories are called packages because they contain many files, right? And, oh geez, this is where my memory, you'll notice that there's this init.py. Do we want to get this deep? Actually, let's not do init.py. But basically, if you were to do something like, let's do requests. That's a good one. So I have this requests library installed in my site packages. If I were to import requests, I could do requests dot, I don't know, utils. And from request.utils, I could access dict to sequence, right? Alternatively, I could just do from requests import utils, and then I could do utils.dict to sequence. Okay? Does that make sense? So that's useful because if you're writing your own modules, if it's a module worth writing, chances are you're going to have enough code that you don't want to put it all in one file. So this kind of allows you to split it up, and allows you to split it up logically that your users can also break things apart logically. Okay? So that is importing code in a nutshell. And then they just cover a bunch of standard library stuff. Yeah, we could do that. I don't like it, but we could do it. Nah, screw that. Let's practice more. Did I lose my second pane? Alright, whatever. So, we're gonna close this. Where did, Sorry guys, I need to get my second pane back, because I need to be able to switch back and forth. Oh, that's right, I closed it. Okay, cool. Oh, that's right, we removed...
You just moved.
Damn it!
I'm sorry.
I am all sorts of scatterbrained now. I have no idea what that folder is, and now I'm like afraid to open folders. So, okay, so this is... Crap. Yeah, I need to go to site package. Does Windows Explorer do history? Because that would be wonderful. Search for site packages. I mean, we could do that. Nope, okay. Sorry, I want to get the report file back. Whoa, what the hell? Oh, that's cool. But no. I meant to search my file system. Lib, site packages. Hey, cool. There we go. And let's put this guy back in our directory. Where'd it go? Okay, cool. There we go. Alright. Why did I need to? I didn't need to do that. Damn it. Alright, so what do you say we go back to our calculator? I want to take what we've learned, and I want to... Now, we're going to over-engineer the hell out of this, but I want you guys to get practice with modules. Okay? So, what I want to do... This is terrible on this screen. Make it a little bit smaller. Can you guys still read that?
Yeah.
In the back? Okay, cool. I want to take this, and I want to split this into, I want to A, split this into modules, and B, I want it to use command line arguments instead of doing this input stuff. Okay? For those who weren't here when we built this, I'm going to take about a minute, because we're rapidly running out of time, to cover what this is doing. So, we define our operator list. Basically, these are the operations that we allow: add, subtract, multiply, and divide in order. We have a method called getInputs, where we start with an operator, and until they give us an operator that we want, until we have an operator that is, because this is going to run for not, while the operator that we currently have is not in this list, keep asking for a new operator. Okay, so that's how we validate that we get an actual operator. And then we ask them to input a first number and a second number. Okay, and we return all of that. In this one, we take that operator, first number and second number, and depending on the operator, we go ahead and do the appropriate operation. Okay? And then all we do at the end is call the two. So now, what I want you guys to walk me through doing, I'm just going to drive, but you guys are going to navigate, is I want to split these into their own modules, and I want to, instead of taking this in via input like this, I want to take them in as command line arguments. Okay? So, who wants to take first stab at it? Someone dictate what I should do if I want to. Let's say I want to put this inputs thing into its own module. How do I do that? Getting ahead. I just want to take this, I want to put this into its own module. Don't worry about the command line stuff yet. I just want to put this into its own module. Okay. Put in a new file. Name it whatever? Okay. Why does it keep defaulting to Java? Or
Python today. What should I name it?
Get inputs.
If I could type it, would be wonderful. There we go. All right. And all right. How about what if I want to put this one in its own file or its own module? Just give it away. Same thing, right? All right. And what should I name this one? What the hell? Oh, I know why. Okay. What should I call this one? Oh, come on. Someone just throw a name out there. It doesn't matter. Calc? Calc 1? Calc 2? Let's get advanced with it. Why not? There we go. Okay. Now, if I wanted to call these in this main file, how do I do that? I'm not worrying about arguments yet. I just want to import those two modules we just created.
Get input.
Yep.
Import.
Cool. Will this run as it is?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, well, actually. You imported it, right? So you just do get inputs dots, get inputs.
No, it won't. Get inputs dot get inputs.
Yeah, get inputs dot.
Like I said, we're over-engineering the hell out of this. Okay. Anything else we need to change?
Line table. Title 2 dot.
Like that? Okay, so let me just kind of demonstrate. Man, what the hell is going on with Sublime? Or Atom? You can tell I might have used Sublime a long time ago. Just to kind of demonstrate what's going on here. Yeah, that'll work. For the people who joined us a little late, we took calc2.py and report.py. We put them in their own files because calc2 and get inputs. Because they're in the same directory and we import, it'll actually just pull that logic in. Okay? In theory, this should run. However, I've been known to be a liar in the past. Nope. Sorry, that was the wrong file. Python calculator. Nope. Why? Why you do this? So what did I do wrong?
Oh, you gotta put that below the import. The outward.
Well, let's look at the error.
Get equal to get equal.
Read the error. You guys gotta get in the practice of reading the errors. Tell me where I should go and what I should fix. Okay. Get inputs line 5. Where the hell did I put it? I can't see with the glare. Okay. Line 5. Okay. Now what's wrong with this line?
Operator is not defined.
Correct. So how do I fix that?
Copy and paste.
Take it from the class.
Oops. From here? Huh. Okay. Wait, is it doing... Damn you, monitor thing. Okay, so operator. Let's give it a plus. Let's give it a 2. Let's give it a 5. Cool. There we go. And in the main file we just did it twice. So let's do a minus 20 and 100. Whoa, that's not 100. That's 100. Negative 80. Cool. Now, what if... Oh, perfect. Man, you guys are quick. Who wants to help me out. If I don't want to use input and interactively ask port, let's actually do this as a separate function. Let's call it process arguments. Whoa, typing. There we go. If I wanted to take in those arguments at the time that they enter the command, as opposed to asking them after the script has run, how would I do that? Bernard, now's your chance. Now's your chance.
You need to import sys.
Yeah. All right, then what?
Put in everything the same on the top.
All this?
Yes. Make first number set first number as float of argument argv. What was it? Sys.argv.
Yeah, there we go.
Box bracket. What is it? 1. Let's do 1. And then second number, same thing, sys.argv2. And then operator.
Where, here?
No. Second, in the while.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Now. Why are you looking at me funny?
No, keep doing what you're doing.
I think it's fine. And then operator is argv. Let's do it the same order. Make that 1, and then the bottom one 2, and then 3.
Okay.
Should be good now.
Why is it not 0, 1, 2?
What's 0 in argv?
File name.
The file name.
Wow.
Yeah. Good question, though. All right.
Then you change everything to process arguments in the original calculator.
Let's do the first one. Like that?
Yes.
Okay. So what should I type here? We had actually I'm going to kind of cheat. If you do a literal plus, the command line's going to interpret that as a plus because you can do math on command line. So you want to put it in quotes. And then what? Let's say 2 and 3. Hey.
That's the second one.
Well, it did it for the first one.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, went on to the second one. Let me just comment out the second one for now. Whoa, typing is too hard. Okay. Yeah, there we go. However, what if I give it a... Can someone tell me what's happening? So it's still running. Someone tell me what's happening here. Yes, it's an infinite loop. Why?
Because it's while. While
Because it
operator.
doesn't break.
Why doesn't it break?
It doesn't break anyway.
And what do you mean when you say break in this context?
I mean, it came back to the line 16,
Yes.
and then we tried to get sysarg1 again,
Right.
but there's nothing. So
Yep. There's no way for sysargv1 to ever change. So this condition never stops being true. Because it never stops being true, it's an infinite loop. So, how might I change this? Well,
why do we need y? Why do we
we were going to force them to enter a proper operator.
Oh, that's why you looked at me funny. Okay, I get
Yeah.
it. Alright.
So let me kill this before it kills my machine. There we go. How might we change this to... Let's say we just wanted to yell at them to try it again with a different operator if it was the wrong operator. How might we do that?
Yeah, not one. If
And then, do we just want to leave it at that?
like print the message.
Yep. But how?
No, like, I think we need to bracket if else. So
Ah, yes.
the operator should be under the L. Oh no. Maybe operator
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
over there.
Actually, it would probably make...
The operator should be on line 15, so we can figure out operator is in
Yes.
this list or not.
Yes. Whoa, my bad. Wrong button. Whoa, geez, wrong button twice. Come on.
Yeah.
Talking like that? Cool. And then, do we need this condition? We want to make sure that they're...
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Print. Wrong operator.
Is there anything else?
And then you need to value.
Yes. So, another thing about the sys module, it has, oh, nope, never mind, wrong module. Disregard that, I got my modules confused. Yeah, let's just return. Okay, good. Does anyone not understand what's going on here? I always know to wait a couple seconds because people kind of look at it and go. Everyone looks okay? So, let's go for it.
Why don't you try?
Huh?
Why don't you try?
Yeah. Are you talking like the construct try, or why don't I try it, is what you're saying? Okay, so that works.
None.
Where?
Calculate by line 6.
Whoops. Should have my hand on the right spot on the keyboard.
You should fix Python. No.
So what's happening is, when you do just a return like this, it returns a single value none, right? But what we're doing here is we're trying to unpack 3 values. So we can, there's a couple of things we can do. We can either return 3 nones, or we can check to see what we get back. Actually, no, we should still return 3 nones because there's no way to check. Yeah. Whoa, what? How? Decent. Sorry, 1 second, guys. And rolls at a time. Too much shit in my pockets. Oh, and I took it out of my pocket. Awesome. Okay, so much for that. Okay, now it's charging. So yeah, we can do none. Okay. Now, why is that happening now and it wasn't happening before? Oh, you know what? Wait, no. What? So I expected that to happen before. I don't know why it's happening now. So what happens is, if you look at calc2.py, we're also referencing the operator list, but we only defined it in here. So it's in a different scope. I don't know, actually. I was really surprised because I was like, oh, this is totally going to blow up.
Oh, can you see the code again?
Which one?
I mean,
Calc2?
Yeah, if statement. Because we only use plus and minus.
Oh, right, so it didn't reach, so it didn't reach here. The problem of runtime of interpreted languages. So what we would we would basically need to do is, this is why you don't over-engineer things, because then you get duplicate shit. Whoops, if I could type it would be great. So we get wrong operator, and now this ends up working because since the operator isn't any of these, nothing happens. So, there you go.
That wouldn't work in C or Java.
Correct. So Python is much, much, much more forgiving than other languages. So any other questions?
How would you import the list? Like
You could put this into another module and then import it from that module. Alternatively, there is you can do I think you can global it actually. Let's try it.
Because what if the list were like 5 million long, right?
Right. Honestly, like this would be poor design to have something like that in. Yeah, you would want to. We don't have enough time for me to get into it. There's a way to solve it, but that comes more into module design, which we're covering like how to work with modules, but we're not covering like how to design your own package. So there is a way to do it. If you're interested in the answer, talk to me afterwards, but I can't cover it now. Cool. Any other questions? Whoops.
Well, you could just do from calculator import operator list.
Yeah. Yeah. There's better ways to do it, but yes, you could do that. Cool. Questions, comments, concerns? Cool. Well, so this week, just to review, we covered standalone programs, basically a little bit of command line stuff and how to put stuff in its own file and run it with the Python executable. We covered command line arguments, how to take things in on the command line as inputs to the script. We covered modules and import statements, making your own module, importing other modules from wherever they might be. And we covered a little bit of packages and site packages. And we made more progress on the calculator. So that's pretty much it. Next week, we will start covering objects. Objects and classes, which is where you get into the more serious programming, and it's much more similar to other languages. So this covers kind of like the raw basics of programming, like your conditions, your loops, variables, and functions. That's the very, 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 very basics of programming that pretty much all languages have. Next, we're going to get into object-oriented stuff, which is a subgroup of programming languages that Python does happen to fall into, and things will be getting a little more complex. So, yeah, thank you for coming, everyone.